Hello to all you geeks and degenerates out there, and welcome back. Since we are doing somewhat of a build-up to Thor, Love and Thunder, we are doing somewhat the younger, edgier brother of the first Thor from 2011, which is Thor: The Dark World, 2013. Yeah, where were you when this came out? Like, did you watch it in theaters? Did you not care after watching the first
Uh,
one, or like?
yeah, honestly, the trails got me because the dark elves looked cool and Jane looked to be in danger because he had something in there. You're like, all right, what's going to happen here? Um,
Hmm.
and I watched this like in the newly opened Resorts World Theater, so that was a thing.
Damn, I
I
didn't see.
think because my mom's hospital gave out tickets to it. She's like,
Oh, that's
hey,
nice.
free tickets. But weirdly, they gave me a separate schedule, and then they gave my mom and sister a way more earlier schedule. So they got to see everything before I did. So I just had to wait in like a Starbucks in Resorts World. But when I did watch it, I kind of Phantom Menace myself. I was like, that was good. And then when I realized, like, not really.
like, like, wow, what were the great scenes in that movie? Huh.
I mean, to be really honest, the only reasons I go back for this one is Thor and Loki.
Hmm. They really did emphasize on like their chemistry, and this is probably their first time showing their chemistry on screen because you
Yeah,
didn't really get a lot of it since this came out right after the Avengers, and it does uh like right after the incident in New York. It's immediately this movie.
yeah,
Um, they didn't really emphasize on like, oh, why does Thor suddenly care so much? Why? Yes, we did see that in the first Thor movie, but now we're like wondering why. We didn't see any chemistry between them back in the day, and then now we do. We kind of see the brotherly banter. You know how they work. You know the things that they've done before, and how they work together. Wow, how Loki is the brains, Thor is the bronze,
yeah.
and you really get to see that dynamic with them in this movie. Sad to say, this movie is kind of mid.
Kind of.
Mid. It's mid.
Yeah,
It's not the worst, but it's not the best.
yeah. It's like really bottom tier, along with Iron Man 3 and Age of Ultron for me. Like, I don't really go back and watch these.
I would say this one was better than Iron Man and Age of Ultron. After
I
rewatching it, I gotta say, no, I'm not joking. I gotta say this one kinda tops Iron Man 3. I don't know about Age of Ultron. I think they're like here.
I have to
They're on the
rewatch
same
them,
level.
but then I don't want to. But I'll take your word for it.
No, it's not gonna piss you off as much.
All right.
But like yeah, for me, I think this was my second time watching a Thor movie in Bacolod again. I used to go to Bacolod a lot. Negros Oriental. Shoutouts. No, I'm kidding.
Were you your
Um,
cousin's prom date again?
no. I think I might have gotten the first story mistaken. I think this is the time when the prom happened.
Oh, okay, okay.
She was in high school when it was 2013. But anyway, we're not talking about my prom days. Um, we're talking about Thor. Yeah, I watched it as soon as I was about to leave. I think I watched it hours before I had my flight going back to Manila. And I was like, wow, I'm gonna think about this movie on the plane. Maybe forgot about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
now he turns on the light.
yeah.
Ooh.
I was in the dark world.
It's in theory. We just go. We don't have the highest budget, everybody. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
But yeah, getting into it, I gotta say, sure, it's exposition, but it was really good exposition. You hear Odin start talking about a war that happened millennia ago, where his dad used to fight in them, and they fought the Dark Elves. And I gotta say, this was probably one of the most interesting parts of the movie.
Yeah. I like it when they build up the lore and you're like, alright, why do they want the planets to align? For the Ether to destroy the worlds? I don't really know. What goes beyond that? You're like, and then what?
Yeah, look at that, Malekith. Nice plan. What's your next step once you succeed in it?
Right?
It's too bright. It's just too bright. But anyway, yeah, we get to see the father of Odin fighting in a war that happened years ago, and I gotta say the fight scenes, like pretty much the huge battles, were really cool looking. And first time seeing it, I was like, wow, okay, there's actually promise. Thor might be like a big step in this whole Marvel thing, and we get to be introduced to their new villain, Legolas from Lord of the Rings, and
Doctor Who.
is that Doctor Who?
One of the doctors. Christopher.
Oh, he's the guy. He's the guy who wears the leather jacket. Right, right. It's not Morbin time, Doctor Who, but it's Legolas, Doctor Who. But yeah, and all I gotta say is that you could tell that they really bumped up the budget and kind of turned down the opacity of the colors.
Yeah,
And the screen, when we get to see Thor, we get to see Thor again fighting, and during this huge battle, it's not squeaky clean anymore. Thor doesn't have his eyebrows bleached anymore.
He fights Korg.
I don't know if that was Korg.
Now we're like something that looks like Korg. He's like, I'm
Korg's
just a pile of rocks.
fifth cousin removed, or something like that. And I did hear that in a YouTube video where they're like, "Oh, Korg is a reoccurring character that Thor tends to smash up every second he gets, and he's always like in the comics at the beginning of the comics."
Yeah,
And
like Korg in the comics is way different than Korg in the movies, where Korg was a legit like badass. Not that he's cool, not cool in the movies, but the comics is like more grounded.
okay, more edgy.
Yeah,
I would say. Okay. And speaking of edgy, yeah, this is Marvel's before Disney kind of had their hands on it. There are a lot of scenes here where you're like, "Whoa,
Oh no, Disney already had their hands on it.
really now?" They went
Yeah.
dark with this one.
Yeah, but
That,
I guess it was already like we're already in pre-production or post-production anyway, so we'll let this one go. I don't know where Iron
Okay.
Man was at the time, so I don't know what happened with that.
I mean, they were kind of dealing with like suicide bombers and stuff. So Disney was kind of dipping their toes into like edgy, or sorry to say edgy, but darker themes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like before that we get to see the aftermath of New York, where Loki is on trial with Odin, and he's sent to prison, and Odin has one of those outburst moments like "You're right."
Was what was that emphasis on that?
Yeah.
Odin likes the tea, but like, yeah, this is the odd character development of Odin. Like, he was a caring father at the start. Then all of a sudden, he's like this asshole.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to the caring father part? Even he was kind of like a dick with Thor when he was like, "Oh, that human lady that you have on Earth, forget about her. You have Sif, who could live probably thousands of years with you and won't die in a blink of an eye."
Yeah, and Loki's sent to prison. And I do like the fact that the mom has more things to do, and obviously because of what happens to her. But Thor is more, mature, responsible. He doesn't really party that much. And we go back on Earth, and you see Jane kind of move on. She's dating the guy from Bridesmaids, and then they hear about this weird phenomenon that's happening. Like, there's a portal in somewhere in London. They're in London, by the way. And then, like, you can drop something down, but it transports back up. And when they're investigating this phenomenon, she gets sucked into it, and that's where she discovers the ether.
Yeah, and you could tell that there are a lot of things that have happened in between. If you're jumping from Thor 1 to Thor: The Dark World, it is a little bit jarring. You do have to watch the Avengers to get what happened. Because what's his name? Selvig?
Yeah, Eric Selvig.
Yeah, Eric Selvig has lost his mind because, as he said in this movie, there was a god in his brain, pretty much,
Yeah.
and really messed him up. And the man's pretty much in, like, how would I say, geriatric juvie.
Yeah, running around Stonehenge naked.
naked
No, he
and
can do
trying
that.
to save the world. I don't know why he was naked at that time.
Yeah, right. Like, what good will that do?
Exactly. Like I don't get this part when they try to make funny haha moments. A lot of the time we're like, why was he naked? Was
Yeah,
there an explanation? Is it just because oh he's gone crazy? If that's the
yeah.
explanation, you could have just made him go crazy without having the him in his not even his tidy whities. He was fully naked.
Yes, like, why didn't he just, try to do the face Stonehenge instead of just and not go naked? Like, why the extra emphasis? Like, unlike the first movie, I don't think the humor works as much as in this one, unfortunately. It's like
I
a
would
few
say
lines that I'm like, ah, but that's about it.
okay. Yeah, I get that part. And
Um, and then it's because of the ether getting into Jane that Malekith reawakens, right?
yeah. Here's the thing. I just recently watched this for this video. I'm already forgetting a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Like
that's,
I'm trying my best to keep on track with this fucking review.
it's
But
like
I am
Morbius. It's fading from my memory too.
no, I'll give it this. Morbius was so stupid that it kind of ingrained itself into my mind, where it clinged on. While Thor: The Dark World was kind of okay, but at the same time,
Like, you don't really go back
man,
for it. Like,
no,
at
you
all.
don't. Like Thor wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. So that's why it's kind of like a like it doesn't really stick to my head all that much. While Morbius was so bad that it clawed into my psyche that I was like, damn, I can't forget about this shit.
Yeah.
Or my brain is trying to forget about it.
Like, what? I'm trying to think of a comparison. Like, why go for why do I want to choose the Wii U when I have a PS4 and a PS5 instead? I guess the PS4's Thor, or not. Well, that's not an unfair comparison, but you know, get what I mean.
I don't get your comparison, but okay.
Like, there's a good option, there's a great option, and there's an option. You're like, why do I want to go back for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Malekith reawakens at the same time. Thor goes back on Earth because Heimdall's like, I can't see Jane, and he's like, that's weird. Goes back on Earth,
Yeah.
meets Jane again, and Jane just goes, poof. Don't know how she has the strength to make a guy go, like, ow, that hurt.
I mean, yo, she had solid hits on the two brothers. Like she
Yeah.
had that one really good slap with Thor, and then that other huge ass punch with Loki. I was like, damn. No wonder she got gains now. Imagine her punching Loki now. Probably blow his jaw off. I don't know.
You in New York, I saw you. Why didn't you say anything? Like, I had responsibilities. I had to defend the 9 realms. She's like,
You could have at least said hi.
so as excuses goes, that's not bad. But
I guess, but at the same time, you could have been like, hey, Heimdall, can you just zap me into London and be like, hey, baby. I did feel bad for that date that she had where man was really trying.
yeah,
Trust me, I've been in one of those kind of dates where girl just didn't really talk all that much. That shit's painful.
but she explodes near the police, and they're like, "That's not natural." And Thor's like, "Yeah, that's not natural at all." And they're like, "Mr. Thor, can you just stay here?" Oh, never mind, he went away.
Yeah, no, you gotta love that one cop. She's like, well, we gotta take her in. And I was like, why? She's dangerous. So am I. I was like, cool. Those are actually cool lines.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. Cheesy, but cool.
And then it's true. He brings her to Asgard, and as you said, as she's being examined by their doctors, Odin's a dick to her, which is not surprising because I have been reading the comics. The last time I read them was like a few months ago, but I remember Odin is a dick to her, even when she's mighty Thor. So I was like, all right.
Odin's just not the best dad.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta love how he was like, they have their own medicine people called doctors. And they're like,
What
I'm
is
sorry,
that?
yeah, it's actually, they have their own healers, I mean. And then, I was like, yo, if your son brought her, like, to this world, because for sure it might have been an emergency. It was like, oh, she's ill. It was like, oh, yeah, they got doctors in their world. And then that's when she blows up. It was like, oh, shit, this is actually bad.
Yeah.
Didn't the nurse see that there was, like, some red thing that's forming inside her? They had, like, this whole x-ray thing. I don't know.
Yeah. And then they discover like, oh, it's the ether, and then they Odin goes again with this whole exposition thing. Like, All right, I'll let it happen since I guess we're forgetful. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Um, Eventually, it's through the ether that the dark elves know that she's an Asgard. But before that, uh, Loki and his mom have a moment where she's like, "You know what you did. You know why you're here." He's like, "Thor's always been a favorite, and I was been always been second."
Yeah.
Uh, and Odin's not my dad. And then she's like, "So does that mean I'm not your mother?" And he's like,
And
"Oh,
no, he mostly like, yes, you're not my mother. And you tell that they were like in Frigga's eyes, who's kind of tearing up. They were like, how can you say that?
yeah,
Like, this is the side of your family that you took over, like the mischief, the magic, the witchcraft. It was like, and then you're just gonna do her dirty like that. And yeah, it's a very heartbreaking moment because you could see that the regret in Loki's eyes as soon as she disappears. And he was like, I should have not said that.
yeah."
And
Uh,
yeah, and then we get to Malekith.
how do they invade again? No, oh yeah, I remember. Malekith like does something to one of his henchmen, who's not Crocodile Killer Croc. Uh, well, he is Killer Croc in Suicide Squad. I just found out looking at IMDb. But he infiltrates him as some prisoner, and then he explodes from the inside, and that causes a distraction in the prison cells. So they're so distracted with the prison that they don't see.
Oh wait. You're getting the Dark Knight mixed up with Thor the Dark World.
No,
No, he doesn't explode. He turns into this beast and then he starts like busting down all the like gates, all the like bars. You're mixing up Dark Knight.
I'm telling you, man, this movie's forgetful. Sorry.
Oh, and Malekith's just standing in the middle of the prison cell with like a phone in his hand.
Yeah, he goes berserk and kills his fellow inmate, right? And then
No, he lets them all out. You really are forgetting this one. Yeah, he lets them all out. He pretty much starts a prison riot. He was supposed to like let Loki go, but he kind of like
yeah, and then
he
Loki's like, you might want to take the stairs to the left.
yeah, and like you can see that like in the beginning of the movie, they use this like amber looking thing to turn into this superhuman, super soldier kind of beast that is really hard to kill. And yeah, they do it here for the prison break. Shit was rough.
Yeah,
Like as that was happening, there were ships pretty much attacking
yeah.
Asgard. And I gotta say, speaking of
I get to
Asgard,
do something. Yay.
he sticks on pretty much does a Nathan Drake.
Yeah,
I would say, speaking of Asgard, they do expand on the world of Asgard.
yeah, it looks prettier too. Like, all right.
It looks way better. The Bifrost was way more detailed. It wasn't just like a food cannon. Um, and like I don't know, it looks great.
Yeah,
I'm whether they are putting in the budget that they got from the first Thor movie.
yeah. And some of the action scenes are pretty good. Like when Thor's like, "If you surrender now, no harm will come to you," and one guy just decks him, and he's like, "All right, you don't have my word."
Yeah,
Uh,
and it was a pretty cool prison breakout scene, and then the invasion was happening at the same time. And this was the oddest thing. Like you see these ships like getting taken out here and there. They're pretty much suicide bombing. Cool design. I like it that they have like this kind of samurai sword s design. That they start cutting down buildings as they
yeah,
fly through them, and the ship's okay. That was cool. That's actually I give props to the movie for that. And one of them, for all of the ships that got destroyed, makes it through and crashes into the throne room,
and
pretty much crushing a lot of Asgardians.
And conveniently, that's the one carrying Malekith. Like, how lucky are
Right.
you?
I was so confused. I was like, all of you guys were on a suicide run. How were you sure that your leader would have made it?
Right?
That was so odd for me.
Uh, and then, what's the name of Thor's mom? Frigga and
Yeah.
Jane hide in a room because Odin's like, defend yourselves, I'm gonna take care of business. And they hide, but he realizes, like, oh, there's not many people here. They must know where they are.
Yeah. And like you see Frigga just like take one of these soldiers' swords away. I was like, that man was just left with a shield. It was like, that poor bastard, hey, Captain America.
Yeah. And then they hide in a room, but she's discovered by Malekith. And then she's like, I am Malekith, child, you have taken something from me. I want it.
Yeah.
And it's an illusion. He's like, rich. And then he makes big doomsday elf hold her hostage. Like, where is she? Cam never tells. Like, all right, stab her.
You gotta admit though, that was a cool scene where she started like doing all the sword tricks or sword combat.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see that in the first movie. All she did was swing at one frost giant and then immediately get like bitch slapped across the room. Here now she's actually, in the fight. And I'm like, okay, that's sick. She can stand her own ground. So I was like, that's cool. And then she dies. And I'm sorry.
It's like me at the ending of the first one. Like, sad Thor. Everyone's sad. The end.
Look, Thor until Ragnarok is not really the best thing to talk about.
He does burn Malekith because he sees the crime happen. He's like,
I love that scene. I love that scene. Like, you don't see Thor coming. You just see lightning come out of the off screen, come in off screen, and you just see Malekith's face just get burned. I was like, nice.
And then Odin discovers their body, and again, like I said before, sad people said no. They have a beautiful funeral scene, like a Viking-esque funeral scene minus the sacrifices. We're like, it is a Disney movie, sure.
They don't decapitate a horse, kill a poor lady who's singing. But here they got like BTS light bongs, so that's cool.
Yeah. But Odin's like, you can't leave because we're preparing for another counterattack, and no one moves until I say so. Well, Thor's like, I can't just stay here. Well, the world is in peril, so I'll have to think of a plan. Since the Rainbow Bridge is guarded, I'll have to think of another escape, and the only one who really knows that is Loki.
Yeah, and you kind of give it to Odin because like their defenses are down. The palace is pretty much unguarded because the shield's broken.
Yeah.
And there is a ship hovering over them. Even Thor points out, like, they could be over our heads and we won't notice. I was like, how'd you know that? And, like, yeah, they pretty much go against Odin's wishes and they're like, alright, we gotta plan something. We only know one person who could actually get us out of here without using the Bifrost. And it is Loki. And this is a really cool scene. Because you see Loki and it's like...
No more illusions and Loki's just depressed. You're like,
yeah, like... first time you see like Loki's like all like, okay, and he's like, what, now you're calm for my help? It's like, enough illusions. And then you see the illusion fade away and you see Loki in the background just like all depressed.
Yeah.
The room's a mess. And of course he's not having the best day since his mom just died. I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah. Or it's like, the trust that I had in you is now gone. If you betray me, I'm going to kill you. And they have a sneaking scene which is quite funny because Loki keeps shifting forms. It's like, thing changes Thor into Sif, and I forget what he changes himself to. Thor, right?
No, he changes himself into a guard, and then he changes himself into he changes himself into Thor.
Yeah.
And then changes into Captain America.
You look ravishing. It's like, stop it. Oh, how much are you, friends? I feel the self-righteousness. God bless them.
Yeah, and then like, and yeah, this is our first time seeing like Thor being, clandestine, as Loki said, and they do have to sneak around. They pretty much have like this whole escape plan planned out with Lady Sif and the Warriors 3.
Yeah.
Warriors 2, because one stayed in like Nordic Japan,
I guess. And then you're like, hey, one of them, that's Zachary Levi now. Okay.
Yeah. Which is like cool. Like, he actually plays the character pretty well.
Yeah. More noticeable than the first guy. No offense, but like, I guess Zachary Levi just brings something else. I don't know.
Yeah, because when everybody's like, hey, that's Chuck. If you all haven't like reached Chuck, it's a pretty good show.
But yeah, I like the theme of if you betray him, I'll kill you. And eventually Loki's like, eventually there's gonna be a lag for that. If you keep
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, everybody, like the Warriors 3, even Sif, they're like, if you betray him, I'm gonna kill you. I mean, if you betray him, I'm gonna kill you. And it was like, alright, I get it.
I love his ball busting when they're just flying the ship. Like, it's brilliant, Thor. Let's take the biggest ship in the galaxy and crash it through the city. Good on you, man.
And then Thor just pushes him off.
Yeah. Also, like when Jane faints, he's like, "Oh dear, is she dead?"
Is she dead? I was like, man, this man is so insensitive, but at the same time, kind of funny.
Yeah.
I can't say mad at Loki.
Yeah. And then they make their escape because they transform to like the boat ship of Asgard. And then
The ship from Treasure Planet, yeah.
yeah, actually, yeah. They make it to this barren wasteland where Thor and Loki do have this amazing dialogue where they start blaming each other, like, "Oh, where were you when Mom died?" Like, oh,
Yeah, and it was like,
weren't you in your cell? Like, oh, who put me there? Huh?
yeah, that was good. That was good. And you kind of see like they both kind of have to take blame. And Thor was like, "Mother doesn't want to see us fighting, but would she be surprised though?" And I'm like, "Good point."
Yeah.
And off screen, we kind of see this. Not off screen. We see Jane's friends. What's her name again?
Darcy.
Darcy and Selvig getting back together, trying to fix these whole things that would help them do this whole teleporting thing
Yeah.
later on into the movie.
Um.
And that was the most forgetful scene, but that is where Stanley is.
Yeah. Like Great Stanley's like, "Can I have my shoe back, please?"
Yeah, I would say those were the weakest moments where they go back to London.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just wish you just stayed here. I get it that you kind of have to develop Darcy and this intern guy. But I wish you just stayed on track and just kept focused because one of the biggest gripes I had. The biggest gripes we had with the first one is that a lot of the characters didn't have a lot of screen time, and we didn't really get a lot of their characters. Here, it's kind of spread too thin.
Yeah.
Like, everybody got their time, but at the same time,
You don't care.
yeah. I was like, oh, cool. Can I go back to here? But they do focus on a lot of side characters. A little too much.
Yeah. And then they wait Malekith and Loki's like, "Can you remove these shackles, please?" And Thor's like, "Would you trust you? Or would you blame me for it?"
Yeah. No, I was like, you still don't trust me. It's like, would you? And like, he takes the handcuffs off, and then he has a knife. He's like, I wouldn't. And then he stabs Thor in the gut, and then Thor falls down. This was the thing that was kind of pointed out in off screen. That they had this whole plan where Loki would cut off his hand, he would look like he betrayed Thor, and pretty much was a bargaining chip for Natalie Portman to be like bargained off to be like, hey, just give me a seat to see Asgard be destroyed.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Honestly, in the moment when I first watched this, is the only time when I went in the theater, I was like, what happens next?
Right.
He
I
stabs
was
Thor
like,
and he cuts off his hand. You're like, holy shit, alright, something's happening.
right? And who would say I wouldn't?
Yeah.
Out loud and be like, oh, I thought this was all part of plan, but okay. Even like Natalie Portman wasn't in on it, so you're like kind of genuine. Oh shit, what'd you do to Thor?
Yeah.
But it was just a scheme to get Malekith to take the ether out of her and pretty much save Jane at the process.
Yeah. But it goes in him anyway. You're like, okay.
Right? So I was like, what was your plan here? It was just to take the thing out of Jane, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they'll just deal with Malekith in his full strength, which wasn't much, I will
Yeah.
say.
I do like how Thor tries to fly to Malekith and he's decked by Doomsday Elf. I really
Doomsday Elf, Super Soldier thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, in the throne scene, they had this thing, like the grenade, that would like suck in anybody into like, I guess a wormhole, or pretty much collapse them in on themselves.
Yeah.
My God, I have zero speech today.
I mean, you're not wrong in the description. Like, what kind of grenade was that?
Yeah, I say that thing's terrifying.
And then when Loki is almost killed by it, you're like, oh shit. And then Thor saves him, and you're like, oh, okay. They're
Yeah,
still have that sibling, love for each other. Like, at the end of the day, you're my brother.
yeah.
Which leads into like Loki cursed about that's his name, cursed about to kill Thor, and Loki stabs him at the back, but he's invulnerable. So through the story that's already through him, he stabs Loki. And again, there's the one when I go, huh? Holy shit, something's happening.
Right, right. They like fully committed to killing a character. I was like, holy well, I mean, they fully committed to killing a villain. But here, there was a redemption arc, and then you start to care about the character, and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we started to like you. What happened?
And then when
And
he dies,
yeah.
Chris Hemsworth tells him the devastation. It's like, oh my god, I've lost my brother.
Yeah, I would say that was a touching scene. It really was. When Loki dies, I was like, oh, fuck. This is how you kill off a villain, or somewhat of a villain,
Yeah.
or a very well-developed villain.
Also, I'll tell father what he did. He's like, I didn't do it for him.
That hit me hard.
Yeah.
And they take refuge in a cave for some reason,
But
and
immediately, it leads them back to it. Because she,
right?
Portman, Jane has cell signal. She's just using her wannabe lover. He's like, keep talking. He's like, yeah, Jane, how's your day? And just hangs up. He's like, I guess she doesn't want to talk anymore.
This poor bastard. I was like, no, 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 stay on line, stay on the line. And I was like, oh, damn, okay. But she was just using him as like, hey, am I getting closer to the signal? And then you see like the car keys, you see like the shoes, the can that she tossed into the portal. That's where it all went, conveniently.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, a lot of Deus Ex Machina that would happen in this movie.
Right? Before we go on, I just remembered this the guy who directed. He went on to direct Terminator Genisys. I don't think it's his fault. In general, I just think it's the right thing. We're
Yeah.
just like, wow, that's really
And
convenient.
so everybody's watching, yes, we know it's not called Genisys. We just make fun of it for
It's terrible. Anyway.
it's horrible.
Yeah, but he redeemed himself because he did that prequel, the movie about the prequel to The Sopranos. So everybody loves him now. Good for him.
Okay.
But yeah, they make it back to Earth, and then they find out that London, well, Greenwich is I think it's also London. I'm not sure.
We're not sure. We're not from there, so
Yeah.
correct us in the comments. But yeah, they have to go to Greenwich, and they're like, "Oh, this is where the convergence is gonna center on."
Yeah, and again, you're like, what's your plan beyond this?
Yeah, I don't get Malekith's. Like, he doesn't want to rule anything. He just wants to make the place dark.
Yeah, you're like, but why?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, what are you gonna gain? Ultimate power, or well, I guess he got ultimate power from absorbing the ether, but
He already
like,
has it with the ether. So you're like, and then you're just like,
and then what?
I don't know. Like, okay. And then I do like before getting the big battle, we cut back to the wasteland and you see glowing green. You see an Asgardian soldier. You're like, huh? I think that is Loki.
No, that is Loki. It's obviously Loki, and then he comes to the third room and pretty much tells his father that, like, hey, there is, like, we found nothing, but there was a body.
Yeah,
And
it
it
also
was
implies Loki kills whoever Odin sent to that world. Just stabbed him and just changed into him. Like, poor John the Asgardian.
John the Asgardian. John Guardian.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, there are two bodies. We didn't find Thor, but we found a body. It's like Loki, and that's the last we see of Odin until 2017.
Yep, and like, uh, it's look, it's the same thing that Seb said. Like, it's the third act is always meh.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
this fight was meh. Like, you would think that a god against
The
another
exasperated-
somewhat god. What?
The exasperated. Like, I feel you.
Yeah, because I was like expecting like some shit, some cool shit, and my friends, they watched it before I did when this came out, and they were like, "Did you watch The Dark World?" And I was like, Oh no, I haven't yet. I was like, you should. The fight scenes were so cool, and it was like Dragon Ball because he kept teleporting everywhere. This is not like Dragon Ball. Excuse me.
Yeah. I do like. There are two scenes that make me kind of laugh. It's when he transports into the subway and then the nurse leans on Hemsworth really.
You got one. He was like, which way to Greenwich? And she was like, oh, 3 stops this way. And I'm like, really? You're gonna take your time? Can't you just walk outside of the
Yes.
train station and for Mjolnir?
Like, Thor, things are happening. Why are you taking your time?
Right? Sorry, we're not emphasizing on the battle all that much because it wasn't really that great. If you like Thor: The Dark World, good for you. But this fight scene was
Yeah,
so
for us.
forgettable.
It's not that great. Also, when the intern saves Darcy and then she appears in front of Jane, they're making out and they're like, Jane, Darcy, Selvig, intern, Mew Mew.
Yeah. And like, I get it, haha, funny. But I was like, is this really the time? Did all of the screenwriting, all the budget for the screenwriting, go into the middle of this film, the start and middle of this film, and then it just went kaput in the third act? The fuck happened? You had me a bit. You had me a bit. You didn't have me by a lot, but just a bit, and I'm giving you that.
And then, how does Thor defeat? He gets the teleport things, right? And he goes into the redness. And then he, such an easy, it looks like a quick time event. He just throws the things at Malekith and his arms and legs disappear. And he spears his entire body and hammers it, I guess. And then he's trapped back.
He teleports him back to the Dark World.
Yeah.
And then the ship that was above him, for some reason, started to collapse. I was like, well, that's horrible engineering on your end, Dark Elves, but like, it starts to collapse as soon as the battle was over, and it was about to fall on Thor because he was passed out because he was tired, and Jane like was guarding his body, and then, oh no, Thor and Jane, they're gonna die because this thing's about to fall on them. And Deus Ex Machina, there was a teleporty thing above him, and it teleported exactly where the Dark Elf is,
He's like,
or where Malekith is, and then it kills him right on the spot. I was like, cool. A guy who's supposed to have like godlike powers gets killed by infrastructure is so odd to me.
Yeah, so like, I guess here's another throwaway villain. You can stay with Red Skull and Whiplash for all I care. Yeah, what happens next? Oh yeah, Thor's like, I don't want the throne. I just want to protect the 9 realms. And maybe when my time comes, I will take up the throne.
I will say this is somewhat of a ruined and beautiful moment. Because I don't know. It's kind of like, oh yeah, Thor is like saying like, I don't want the throne anymore. I would rather be just like a man than be a great king.
Yeah.
A good man than a great king. And those were powerful words. And powerful words came from Odin as well, where he's fully accepting that. Then go. It's fine. You have changed so much from the boy who wanted to be king so bad to a man who just wants to be a good man.
Yeah.
And then Thor leaves, and then it just shows that Odin was actually Loki the whole time. Beautiful and kind of ruined for me because it showed that the respect and the love that Loki had for Thor
Yeah.
came out as Odin when he's pretending to be as him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they gave this whole like evil, like haha, thank you, brother, kind of deal where I was like, oh come on, you could have just been like, okay, I'll just take the throne.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I wish he just killed them off in the background. Odin.
Sure.
That would have added more weight to Loki's character. Like, oh shit, he killed his own father. Is there any redemption now? But no, I get what you mean. That like, in your mind, you're like, so Loki was just saying that to get Thor out of his way. Wasn't coming from Odin himself.
It wasn't coming from Odin himself, and I don't know if it was coming from Loki himself as well. Like, there a bond between them there, or was that just Loki saying whatever just to get rid of Thor?
I think it's the latter.
That sucks because these were actual really good dialogue, ruined by the fact that like Loki was like, "Hey, thank you, Thor."
Yeah, I think the first after credit scene is Lady Sif and Punisher Viking go to the Collector, played
Yeah,
by
and
Benicio del Toro, setting up a more interesting movie, a way better movie called Guardians of the Galaxy.
oh yeah, thank you, James Gunn. But yeah, they hand over the ether, and then it was revealed to us that the ether is actually an Infinity Stone. I was like, cool, all right. And we find out as well that the collector's actually collecting the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, so it's like a race to who gets them first and who gets to be the most powerful being. Obviously, we know the answer to that now.
Yeah, and we also get a second end credit scene, which was so useless that Thor comes back into London, and he was like, "Hey, baby," and then they kiss, and then that was it.
No, they also show the
Oh, like
the cat from Jotunheim, because at one point they go there.
yeah, and he gets teleported into Earth, and then it's
And
like going
the London
crazy.
police aren't like, help.
That's maybe that's why he came back. Like, there's a problem. I kind of have to take care of it. It's kind of my fault.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, we reached the end of the film. What would you rate it?
I don't know, man. 4. There's some moments I do like. I do like Hemsworth and Loki and the mom. Those are the 4 points. But the rest, I'm like, wow, this is boring. Slog. It truly is a slog to get through because you're like, what is the point of the villains? Why does he want to destroy the world? All the realms? Because what?
Dude, I was about to pull like a Morbius where I was gonna defend this movie for being bad. Not really that bad, but I was about to defend it. And then now that we keep talking about it, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the villain. Like, what was the purpose of the villain? Like, the villain in Morbius had more of a motive than this one.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, so it's odd.
And like, it's weird that 2013 is, at least for me, the weakest year for the MCU with Iron Man 3 and Thor 2. You're just like, oh.
Yeah. And, I don't know. It's just, this was just an odd movie. It was very pretty.
Yeah.
The cinematics were amazing.
I mean,
The whole new design. What?
I'm sorry, I was trying to think, is there any other comic book movie from 2013? There's Man of Steel, but that's DC. There's Kick-Ass,
Yeah,
but that's Image, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. But for me, I'm giving this one. I'm gonna roll with you here. I'm giving it a 4. Like I really can't remember a lot of the movie, and I just watched it. So it's so odd to me that I'm like, how can a movie pretty much eject itself from my mind so quickly?
Right.
As soon as after watching it, I like the design of it way better than the first one. It's way grittier. It's way more edgier, or I would say darker in some themes. And this is where you see like the budget of Disney coming into, like where the aspect ratio changes, and I don't know, it's all went to. The character development for Thor and Loki, though, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But the rest of it was kind of meh.
And again, a lot of the characters are undeveloped. Like I can't. If you pointed the gun at me and it's like, make a paragraph about Darcy's characteristics and personality. You're like, shoot me, please.
No, I feel like I could make a whole paragraph about Darcy more than Natalie Portman's character.
That is true. That is true. Since you brought it up, this is why Natalie Portman left, because she asked to get Patty Jenkins, who ultimately does Wonder Woman, to direct this movie. I think Disney either removed her or said no. She gets mad, and that's why she's not. She feels like she's phoning it in at times, and then that's why she leaves.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, again, Natalie Portman was underdeveloped here.
Like, how do you underuse Natalie Portman twice? What is that?
I guess Thor wasn't her thing, but now she's coming back as Mighty Thor, so I'm like, okay.
She's like, I wasted too much time with another powerful boy and his own.
Hey man, don't steal the Steph's joke.
No, he makes a great point where it's like, you know what? I know when to cut and run.
But yeah, anyway, we pretty much reached the end of our video. Did you guys like the movie? Did you not? Leave it down in the comments below. Did you? I know Jeremy Johnson liked it.
Really? All right.
Yeah, yeah. If you rewatch his review for it, I was like, really? Buy it on Blu-ray?
Maybe it's like,
To each their own, I guess.
Should I like his review on Suicide Squad, where like years later he's like, actually.
But
Each
yeah.
their own. If you like
Sure.
it, good on you. I envy you if you like this.
Yeah. I envy a lot of people who enjoy films that I'm like, why?
Yeah. You know, you just find something that I can't, that we can't, and again, I envy you. Good on you, man.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, again, if you like it, leave it down in the comments below. If you hate it, do the same thing. And you can find us at facebook.com/geeksanddegenerates. And you can also find us on Discord. And if you don't like seeing our faces, we also have a Spotify. And you can find me.
How we sell our Spotify, like.
No, I like it.
Alright.
But yeah, you can find me individually at GOM on Instagram. It is my art account. How about you, man? Where can they find you individually?
Individually, you can find me at Yandolphus1995 on IG and Twitter.
Nice. And thank you again for watching our videos. Subscribe, leave a like, and ring the bell icon to be notified for any future content that we will release. And we'll see all you geeks and degenerates next time. Ciao.
Bye.